Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online series 8 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we showed off a really fun Zamazenta team, so we'll be playing a couple of more games with it today, and we're jumping right into Road to Ranked. Once again, details for this team are down in the description below. If you haven't seen the last episode, would highly recommend, as it features a bunch of different ways you can play with the Zamazenta on this specific team. So let's get started. First game of the day is against Yveltal, very similar to Binjia's team, which we went up against in the first game yesterday, so deja vu here. But they do have the Gastrodon, and that's pretty scary, because that's another Pokemon to hit Zamazenta for super effective damage with. In yesterday's game, I just went with the Glastrier approach, right? I think that's also probably fine here, once again, because we have Foul Play on Porygon. So once again, I can just lead Amoonguss, Porygon, Glastrier, and Zamazenta. I just really want to play with Cinderace. But it's probably not the best. Okay, I'll go with the same approach as game 1 yesterday. Amoonguss, Porygon lead, Glastrier, Zamazenta in the back. In yesterday's game 1, my opponent led... They 5 of the 6 Pokemon were the same, and they led Incineroar plus Yveltal. So, I don't know if I had a significantly better lead. Amoonguss Porygon is really safe for us here. So, yeah. Let's get started, though. Thank you so much, as always, for watching Road to Ranked. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, inspired by comment section from yesterday. I want to know if you can add one new Pokemon to Sword and Shield from the old games that currently is not in the game. What would it be, and why? My casual answer is Piplup. My competitive answer, I think, for Series 8, if you wanted something that would spice up the format immediately, it would probably be Smeargle, just because it turns... I mean, it's just a really good support Pokemon. But yeah, I always wondered if Empoleon could be any good in, not Series 8, but the earlier formats. So it's Incineroar plus Metagross. I think I'm going to Spore here in Trick Room. I think yesterday we went for the same play, right? I'm not going to go for a Rage Powder here. They have Fake Out Pressure, and... Oh, they Protect Protect Taunt would be a crazy good play here. Oh, what a beast! Wait, that was actually so good. What? If I just spored in an Incin here, we would have been in a really good spot, actually. But that was an insanely good play. Kudos to them. I think Taunt probably comes out again, and now into Amoonguss. So I'm going to switch out into Zamazenta here. And I guess just try attack for damage onto Incineroar. That was so well done. Wow, Protect Taunt turn 1. Brilliant play. And for that reason, I think Spore into Incineroar may be better, because Metagrosses pretty much always carry Protect unless they're Assault Vest, whereas Incineroars almost never carry Protect. So if I want to guarantee a Spore off there, saying, hey, if you don't Fake Out or Taunt the Amoonguss slot, then Spore into Incin would have been really good. Although, I wouldn't be 100% surprised if it were Safety Goggles Incineroar here. And then that turn 1 is just so safe. I guess they could have gone Rage Powder Trick Room there, but that's okay. Nicely done. Nicely done. That was such a good play, turn 1 from their end, so kudos to them. I'm not that worried yet, but... Okay, they max Metagross. I'm okay with that, unless they went max Quake into Zamazenta and Flare Blitz. Actually, even if you did that, it's not that bad, is it? Because I can just bring Amoonguss back out, Protect, and then the next turn Rage Powder Trick Room. The only problem is that we're down 4-2, but... Glastrier has such a favorable matchup here that even if we're down 4-2, I think we could definitely pull off a comeback. And getting our opponent to commit a max early is good. So yeah, they go for Steel Spike into the Amoonguss, perfect. That's the beauty about Zamazenta. It's such a fantastic switch in defensively. Especially when you get that immediate defense boost. So nice. And obviously you always get that boost. Okay, they did go for Flare Blitz. So the goal here was to just knock out Amoonguss or do a lot of damage into the switch in, which is Zamazenta, which makes sense. Downside here is that Incin did get a defense boost from close combat, from Max Steel Spike. Thinking one step ahead with the close combat here. I don't know if that's a knockout, unfortunately. But I still think it's our best play to go for it here. So we'll close combat into Metagross. I don't want to activate that weakness policy on Metagross, so I'm just going to try attack here. If we can one-shot Incin with close combat, honestly, I think we're in pretty good shape. Because my opponent will have already committed 2 turns of Dynamax just to knock out Zamazenta. Their restricted Pokemon is Yveltal in this matchup. That's not too much of a problem. I think they may want to consider switching out the Incineroar here, because it is really good in dealing with my Glastrier in this late game. But the good thing is that my opponent's brought out probably the two biggest threats to Glastrier right now, so the fact that I'm already able to deal with them in the first couple turns of the game before bringing out Glastrier, I think is in our favor. So, yeah. I really, really like their play on turn 1, though. That was just a really smart play. And I could have gotten around by clicking Spore. They fake out. Okay, I'm guessing they just misclicked there, or they timed out. And Close Combat knocks out Instant. Nice. I don't think there's ever a reason to click Fake Out here over something like Parting Shot or Flare Blitz, right? So, I mean, I'll take it. We get the knockout. And they go for Max Quake. But this is what I was saying, right? Because now you can't taunt. And I can just bring out a Moongus and pretty safely Rage Powder Trick Room. Because taunt wears off now. This is turn 3. And then once Trick Room is up, like I said, we have Glastrier in the back. Tri-Attack also gives us status condition potential here. So I think it was just best to go for it. I really don't want to activate a weakness policy until I get Trick Room up. So, yeah, I mean, Porygon and Moongus, Glastrier was a pretty common core in Series 7, and it continues to be really good here in Series 8. And Zamazenta is such a nice partner for it. Yep, so it's Yveltal in the back. Metagross, Yveltal. Is there any reason to not Rage Powder and Trick Room? I don't even think a double up comes close to knocking out Porygon, so the thing is, I could protect Trick Room here. My only fear is if you like somehow activate the policy using Yveltal and then Metagross one-shots Porygon, but I don't think you can do that. So, honestly, I think Protect Trick Room is just the move here. If I wanted to be like 100% safe, then Rage Powder is better, but I really don't think you're knocking out Porygon here with Yveltal Metagross, even if you somehow activate the policy on Metagross, which could happen through like Self-Sucker Punch, or maybe some other Spread Dark type attack. But the thing is, Self-Sucker Punch is so risky, right? Because if I Rage Powder, I just redirect that away. Yeah, they just Snarl. Okay, great. And now we're primed for a Glastrier sweep in the endgame. So, once again, like, Zamazenta can be used so many different ways with this team, and in this game it was mainly as a defensive switch-in, which was really critical. Yeah, they're going to Steel Spike into Porygon. Yep. It's really good damage, actually. And they did correctly double up onto Porygon, so I had the opportunity to just straight up Spore with the Moongus there, but I think this is fine. Because we get Trick Room up. We are at neutral. They're at +2 defense. So, like, the Metagross is honestly kind of annoying to deal with, but I can... One cool thing here is actually going for a Spore and a Foul Play into it, but I think it's probably better to Spore Yveltal first and recover. Actually, I don't know. Like, the question we ask here is basically, does Metagross protect this turn? I'm going to make the read that it doesn't and double up into it. But I guess it's pretty safe to protect. Okay, and they don't protect. Oh, that's huge. Great. I don't know. Spore Yveltal Recover was probably the safer play, but I don't want to waste my turns of Trick Room. And even though they have the defense boosts, like, Foul Play now activates Weakness Policy, so another Foul Play should KO. Great. Yep. So we actually use their Weakness Policy to our advantage in this position. I would guess Oblivion Wing here, but maybe you just target the... Actually, Oblivion Wing Porygon 2 feels like the best play, but they shouldn't KO us. And they target a Moongus too, yeah, because they don't want to get Spored. So, perfect. Now I can just Spore, Yveltal, Foul Play, Metagross, and there's very little downside to that. I want to Foul Play Metagross because I want to just knock this thing out as quickly as possible, right? I guess the question is whether or not Foul Play KOs from this range. It should. It's giving me a throwback to yesterday's episode when I messed up the Foul Play damage on Sogaleo and ended up like going for a useless Spore onto it. But I think regardless, even if it doesn't KO here, we're still in a pretty good position, and it actually gets the knockout, so yeah. Like, we haven't even Dynamaxed yet. They have Yveltal, they don't have Incineroar or Metagross, so we have paved the way for Glastrier to come out and just sweep in the late game. So, this is kind of what can happen if you are able to position with your Dynamax Pokemon and save it for the late game, rather than just going for the early game, right? Like, you know, if I let Cinderace in this early game, it doesn't really do very much for me. Cool thing here is I can actually... Pollen Puff now into Porygon. I mean, yeah, there's no way I can lose with Glastrier in the back at this point, I think. So I'll just Pollen Puff here and go for a Tri-Attack to break a potential Sash here. I guess Spore... Actually, Spore Alecki... Oh, okay, they just end up forfeiting. I was going to say Spore Alecki Recover is probably the better play there, but it doesn't really matter because Glastrier should just one-shot both of those Pokemon at that point. So, yeah. I think that's just a really tough matchup for my opponent, and they played it as well as they could have. It's just that they have very little options because You can't really bring Yveltal. You can't Dynamax it early, right? Because Glastrier just kind of stomps on it. But you also don't feel like it doesn't feel great maxing Metagross without activating that policy. And there wasn't like a great way to self-activate the policy there. So you know what could have been interesting for my opponents then was like self-flare blitzing. And obviously I think they had that one turn where they went for the fake out, which was probably a timeout or a misclick, one of the two. And I think, well, what could they have switched out into that turn? We went for close combat, and they had a Lecky and Yveltal in the back. So they didn't really have a great switch into close combat, but if you switch the instant out and maybe sacrifice the Lecky there, or just go into Yveltal, you at least conserve Incineroar. That Intimidate's really valuable in dealing with the Glastrier later on. We didn't even end up bringing Glastrier, but I think on paper, it was just a very, very favorable matchup for us, because Glastrier under Trick Room was the win condition, so that's what I was trying to set myself up for. And our opponent did a good job, honestly, especially in that first turn, but it's really, really tough to deny Porygon Trick Room, especially when you have a Mungus with Focus Sash. And even with Taunt, you can just stall out the Taunt. So this is interesting. They have Dragonite. There's no Colossal, so I'm like really curious what it does here. I'm sure it activates Pulse. Well, actually, wow, this is really interesting. It's like a mix of the teams that we've used previously. So obviously there's Grimmsnarl, Spectre, and Solgaleo. So Foul Play Porygon, once again, is so important for us here. Without it, I think we just get wrecked by Solgaleo. I mean, do I really just go Amoonguss Porygon and give up? I think that probably is the play. And just get Trick Room up. If you Bulldoze and Max Steel Spike, that's okay, because then I can just Foul Play Max Quake KO Solgaleo. So it's, once again, it's Amoonguss, Porygon, Glastrier, and I think Zamazenta. The like Cinderace feels really good, but the problem with Cinderace is with Solgaleo and the Spectrier, Bulldoze will just lower the speed on Cinderace immediately. Now I could Sucker Punch, but you're gonna be Focus Sash. It's gonna be Sash or Scarf most of the time on Spectrier. I pretty much always expect Sash, but we ran up against Scarf I think a couple episodes ago. Yeah, and they just lead that. It's a very consistent lead, so it makes sense. Man, what did I calc yesterday? Like, Foul Play after Steel Spike, if you have Policy up, does like 35% under Dynamax. Okay, wait, maybe this doesn't work out very well for us then. So here's the thing. I could just Protect Trick Room rather than Rage Powder Trick Room. Or I could Spore. I kind of want to Protect here. I think it's actually not bad to Protect, because I'm not at immediate risk of getting KO'd on Porygon. The problem here lies if you have Taunt on the Spectre, and then you Taunt and, like... Okay, they did commit the max. Honestly, I'm happy for them. Like, I'm happy... Well, I'm happy for I'm happy for myself that they committed the max this early on. Unless +2 Steel Spike KOs Porygon, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. And if it doesn't, and they don't have Taunt, or they don't Taunt Porygon turn 1, we're in really good shape. I think often in this position you do want to just Bulldoze and get the knockout onto Amoonguss. So, let's see. If they have Taunted, they do correctly Taunt Porygon. Great play on their end. And it's not, like, super crazy to imagine, but they don't Taunt, which is good. Okay, good. That's the thing. I realize when practicing with this team, like, sometimes I just give up Amoonguss way too easily, and, like, you don't have to do it. Like, sometimes Porygon is just safe. It's very hard to knock out, even with, like, a +2. Yeah, and they just Steel Spike. Yep, into Amoonguss. Okay, beautiful. That's why I really like this I almost said Amoonguss. Amoonguss Porygon lead combo. That is a really, really loud snow truck? I don't even know what the term is here. It snowed pretty heavily. It's been snowing a lot where I am right now in New York, so yeah. We get Trick Room up though, so perfect. Gosh, I mean, now the question is whether or not you have Taunt. You could also Max Guard here with Solgaleo, right? I don't mind Sporing here. I feel like if they had Taunt, it would have been likely for them to go for it on turn 1. So I'm going to Spore Foul Play into Solgaleo. See if they Max Guard. Nice. They don't Max Guard and they switch. So that really means they don't have Taunt. I think if... Oh, ooh, the Feeny switching. Wait, I should have thought about that more. That's a great switch. That's a really good switch. Foul Play is still good here, right? But... I should have considered that a little bit more. I guess, would I have changed my play there? I don't know. Yeah, Foul Play does around 35%. They're going to go for another Steel Spike into Amoonguss. One more turn of Dynamax left. I have Zamazenta in the back. That was a really good play. I think I actually maybe should have considered switching Amoonguss out into Zamazenta there. Because that burns me another turn of Trick Room, and then the next turn I can just switch Zamazenta back out into Amoonguss, sack Amoonguss, bring out Glastrier, and then it's Glastrier time. Because now the problem is I probably have to lose another Pokemon. Yeah. Nicely done, nicely done, nicely done. I should have considered Feeny a little bit more, because in my head I was like, oh yeah, we get Trick Room, we Spore, and then there's nothing they can do about it. But that's why Feeny is such a good switch-in, right? Yeah, unfortunately, I think we just close combat here. I don't really care about Feeny. It's not much of a problem. So, I'll double up into into Solgaleo. But the thing is that Solgaleo should outspeed Zamazenta under Trick Room, so we're kind of in an awkward spot right now. Great Spore switch in. Turn 1 was good. Turn 2, Amoonguss into Zamazenta would have been the play. And I think that works out. Well, actually, I do think from my opponent's end, Max Quake onto Amoonguss would have been a safer play, right? Because it covers for the Zamazenta switch out. So, like, me going for, or staying in, I don't know. I gotta give it some more thought. Okay, they're under 50. They just Scald. That's fine. I wonder, oh yeah, it's probably a double up on a Zamazenta. That's fine, honestly, because, like, your Dynamax is over. And it is Max Quake, yeah. Because I think +2 Max Quake would have knocked out Amoonguss. They probably weren't 100% confident on that, which is totally fair. So their Dynamax is over, but we have conserved this late game Glastrier. Late game Glastrier. And the other question is whether or not Foul Play KOs Solgaleo from this range after Dynamax. I would need it to do 40%. It's close. Honestly, it might hang on with the Sliver at +2 defense. Basically, it's doing the same amount like that first Foul Play did, right? When it was maxed. I'm going to be honest, I don't feel great about our chances of picking up the knockout. But I think Knuckle Foul Play should KO. So I'm down for that. Even if you Protect, I get an attack boost onto Glastrier, and we're trying to sweep with Glastrier under Trick Room now. So yeah, I mean, Feeny is not a problem against an Assault Vest Glastrier with Terrain Up. You can't even burn anything, so I'm not concerned about that. I think there's very little downside to Knuckle Foul Play into Solgaleo, right? The only problem is that I'm running out of Trick Room turns, and I can't Protect with this Glastrier. It's not like I can just Protect Trick Room once my Dynamax is over. Oh, they Protect Feeny. Actually, just might be a double Protect. That would make a lot of sense. Yeah. But I'm actually okay with that because I get an attack boost, and I think with the... do I really think with this little bit of chip damage he'll be in Foul Play KO range? I'm not 100% sure. Plus, I don't even think a Max Quake KOs Feeny at +1 from this range. If we were Life Orb, maybe, but we're not. Yeah, I think we need to probably double up on Solgaleo again. Could have read into it Protecting and then not Knuckled there, but... Solgaleo could definitely switch out right now, too. It's also the last turn of Trick Room, which is not good for us. But I guess their offense in the late game is kind of lacking. I'm not sure I want to Knuckle here. Like, I'm thinking I want to Quake or Steel Spike instead. What can you switch out into? Spectrier? And Dragonite. So Hailstorm Foul Play should cover all of my bases here. It is really tempting to go for another attack boost, though. But I think I'd rather value a KO right now. Okay, I'll Quake and Foul Play. Hailstorm may have been a little bit better there. Let's see if they switch. No, they just go for doubles. Okay. Does this KO? Oh, it did. Nice. Okay. Well, I could have gotten another Max Knuckle off there, but I don't mind this. I mean, I need damage on a Feeny at some point, and might as well get it now. Plus, I still have one more turn of Dynamax to work with. That's pretty bulk. Oh, no, I had a defense boost from Steel Spike, right? Yeah, so. Even if I got another Knuckle, I'm not one-shotting with Max Quake the next turn anyway, so I think that's fine. Calm Mind, Scald, Moonblast, Protect, presumably. We saw Protect, so it's just the standard Feeny set. No Taunt, though, which is important. Okay, getting a special defense boost on these are good. It's lefties, so it's only recovering very, very slowly turn by turn, which is also good. Trick Room expires, but I have one more turn of Dynamax here. I just, like, what? I don't know if my opponent has enough offense at this point, because it feels like their team is so reliant on Solgaleo. So, This is why Foul Play is such a good move right now, and why you should consider running it on a bunch of different Pokemon. And they bring up Porygon. Okay. Just trace Porygon. Oh. But that means their Porygon probably has Foul Play. And what's interesting is, like, they did get an attack boost. Let's see, it's our last turn of Trick Room. I'm sorry, no, Trick Room isn't up right now. We know Spectre's in the back. I honestly want to, like, try to knock out Porygon here, so, like... Okay, but if I max Knuckle... I don't want to max Knuckle and then have them reverse my Trick Room and then Foul Play my Glastrier. If they, like, made the read and just click Trick Room here this turn. Feeny protecting is also likely. I don't know. I don't know what the best play here was. They didn't protect Feeny. They just Moonblast. Okay, that's fine. And they just Foul Play. Okay, that's huge. The fact that they didn't reverse, like, try to reverse my Trick Room here is a really big deal. Because I get another attack boost now. It's so much damage on the Porygon as well. I'm at +2 attack and I get Trick Room up. Oh, unless I didn't get Trick Room in on time. I did cut it really close there. Oh, no. Oh, that is so sad. Yeah, I made my move too late there. It took me too long. I just, like, the reason I was hesitant there was because my opponent could have protected and then reversed my Trick Room with Porygon, and then you Foul Play. So Trick Room would have won us the game there, I think, but unless they read into me protecting now, that's a shame. Yeah, I'm gonna high horsepower Trick Room, but they can just double up onto my Glastrier now, because I think they should know I'm Assault Vested. Unless you don't KO with +2 Foul Play. Or Recover, that works too. I think, okay, so the Recover there was kind of to hedge against me, but I think this actually may win us the game now. Okay, high horsepower doesn't KO, but I don't think another Scald should KO us, even if I have a special defense drop. So, I think we can just close combat into Porygon now. Try attack into Tapu Fini. We're lucky that we didn't get burnt there. Yeah, it's just close combat now. That should be a KO, right? We're at +2. Yep. +1 Spadef. They're at +1 special attack. So I'll be at my neutral Spadef after this, but Scald should definitely not KO. And Try Attack also gives us a status condition. If they... Oh, they protect Feeny. Okay, that actually seals up the game, I think. You have to attack with Feeny there and hope for a crit, I think. Because now I just knock out the Porygon cleanly with close combat. So, yeah. I think, yeah, my opponent needed to Foul Play. I haven't timed out in a while. It's been a very long time, but that was bad. You basically need to get your move in, like, with 1 second left. If it's at 0, often it won't go off. Depends on how close you cut it, but I did cut it too close there. So, yeah. The reason I was deliberating there, like I mentioned, was because I was nervous about Feeny protecting. I Knuckle, and then, like, I Trick Room with Porygon, they reverse Trick Room, and then I'm at +2 attack with the Glastrier, and then you Moonblast Foul Play the Glastrier the next turn. I think that probably wins the game for my opponent, so, yeah. They bring out Calyrex. Icicle Spear never misses. I'm at +1 special defense. This thing's at neutral. You still need a crit anyway, plus I don't think Spectre has Protect here, so I'm just going to try attack the Feeny Icicle Spear into Spectre. I called it Calyrex just now, didn't I? It's not Calyrex. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Glastrier is still such a good Pokemon in this format, honestly. And that's the nice thing about Icicle Spear. There are a bunch of nice things about Icicle Spear. One, accuracy is 100% accurate, so you don't have to worry about it missing. Two, you potentially break through sashes on something like a Mungus, for example. The reason I went for that play is, like I mentioned, like Feeny going for a double protect and then Spectre, I don't know, Shadow Ball crit scares me there. They need to get the burn on Glastrier, but it's a little bit too late. Like, Feeny wins against, or sorry, Porygon wins against Feeny, given that Feeny can't really heal itself other than through lefties. 51 down to 39. So we took 12 damage from burn. Yeah, I mean, you can protect all you want, but at this point, like, we don't even need to risk missing. We just go for... I actually don't know which is the strongest of these three options into Feeny, but I'm just going to go for Icicle Spear and try attack. We're at +3 attack, so even with the burn, it should be fine. They protect here, I'm sure. I think you just go for multiple protects. I I guess if you're in my opponent's shoes, this next turn, there's like an interesting decision to make. But yeah, we would have been toasted. They just foul played into Glastrier. And I'm guessing, like, my opponent didn't want to do it because, like, they were worried about me protecting. But, yeah, I think you have to foul play there. Like, Recover doesn't actually accomplish anything because if I set up Trick Room, maybe they were hoping that I didn't set up Trick Room again. But, yeah, if I set up Trick Room, then Porygon's fainting the next turn anyway, right? Okay, you know what? I want to say Heavy Slam does more here, so let's just go for Heavy Slam. I can't imagine Icicle Spears. And if we get 2 hits with Icicle Spear, that's pretty bad, right? Okay, they go for the double, but they don't get it. Well, that is the correct play to go for. But I don't think the Feeny is really winning against this Porygon anyway, even in an endgame without Glastrier. But even if they got the double, like, I don't know. I think you would need, like, you would basically need enough protects to stall out my Trick Room to the point where Glastrier doesn't get a single attack off, Scald KO, and then play the 1v1 against Porygon, and basically hope for no status conditions at any point from Porygon as well. And, yeah, because you're healing only from leftovers, so it's very marginal every turn. But I mean, that was a weird game, because, like, if I had just gotten the Trick Room like I initially intended, then I think it just would have been over, but then I didn't because I timed out, but then my opponent didn't go for the foul play, so we were kind of bailed out. And it was funny, because, like, the Porygon on their end came out right when I was talking about how good foul play Porygon is, so that was kind of amusing to me. Or how good foul play as a move is in general, but yeah. Alright, we got a classic Kyogre Tornadus Rain team here, but instead of like Amoonguss and Incineroar, you have Kartana and Cinderace. Okay. Always cool to see more Cinderaces. Big fan of the Pokemon. Okay, their Ferrothorn is a big problem, isn't it? Yeah. This is where I wonder if I can get away with Wide Guard Zamazenta. The problem with Zamazenta is if I Wide Guard and I get it off, great, but if not, my opponent can just, Also, we don't have any water resists, except for Amoonguss. Like, I could just go Amoonguss, Porygon, Glastrier, but, like, do I really... I don't know. This Ferrothorn really concerns me, to be honest. If I'm my opponent, I don't know, Tornadus, Kyogre lead, Ferrothorn in the back, and then maybe Kartana? Problem with Amoonguss is it's literally just to Rage Powder to get Trick Room up turn 1, but that alone might be worth it. Like, that's the debate here. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, I'm not getting Trick Room up. It's just like, do I not bring Zamazenta then? Okay, this thing's still not bad though, right? Especially because I can Howl with Glastrier. It just feels really weird to bring Cinderace in. So I'm going to bring in Zamazenta, but I think Ferrothorn poses a very big problem to us here. So I'm not looking forward to going up against that, especially if it's the classic Iron Defense Body Press set that we saw towards the, you know, like just the earlier formats. Because I didn't bring my one good Ferrothorn answer, and that might punish me, but I was like, you know, with Glastrier and Zamazenta, I can at least boost my stats. It is just Tornogre here. Man, I think this is just Rage Powder plus Trick Room, but, like... Yeah, I think it's Rage Powder plus Trick Room, but the thing is I just take so much damage from that as a result, and, I mean, I do get Glastrier in safely, though. Well, if you're my opponent, I guess you probably taunt Water Spout. You should taunt Amoonguss. I think I still go for the Rage Powder and the Trick Room, but the Sash here... Oh, man. Did I have a better lead against Kyogre Tornadus? Oh, they switch. Oh, it's Ferrothorn coming out. Yeah, this is where if you're Iron Defense Body Press, like, uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. It's a big problem. Yeah, they go for Taunt. Oh, gosh. I honestly, if you are Iron Defense Body Press, because they got the Ferrothorn in at such a good time, I might be toast. I'm gonna switch out into Zama. I think I double switch here, actually. Because the idea with this is I can just Howl Max Knuckle. Even if you're Iron Defense Ferrothorn, like, maybe we can break through with multiple attack boosts. Because I'm still doing damage, I'm keeping up with your boosts, but I don't know. That was a great switch by my opponent turn 1. And my only real good... Well, actually, Zapdos isn't bad against Ferrothorn either. It's just like the lack of Fire-type attack outside of Cinderace is tough, and I don't really want to bring Cinderace into a Kyogre matchup. Yeah, they go for Taunt there. That's fine. Nice. So I don't mind that. It's probably Iron Defense. Oh gosh, yeah, this is a problem. I don't even know what the alternative route is here though. I think it's just such a big. It's not just Iron Defense Ferrothorn, it's that plus Kyogre. I have no idea how I can beat this because I've played it how I've wanted it to, and I've still gotten nowhere basically. Man, I think I'll just go for the knockout here onto Tornadus. Oh, actually, Tornadus just switches, doesn't it? Oh, no, they don't. Okay. Oh, I mean, this thing's just going to get to +6 defense and beat me. I don't think I have a good way around it. So this is an example of what I think is just, like, great execution by my opponent, and it's a very tough matchup on paper. Not to say it's unwinnable, but I'd have to think really hard about how to beat Tornadus Kyogre lead with Iron Defense Ferrothorn in the back. Okay, they do Taunt as well. Yeah. Probably just another Iron Defense. Oh, they actually commit Leech Seed. Okay. Huh. Then the Howl was a waste. Could have knuckled. I wonder if they're Focus Sash here. Like, I'm thinking maybe we just knock out everything around Tornadus, but even in a 4v1 matchup... Oh, they are Sash too. Yeah, it's tough because I don't get an attack boost. They will Feign from Hail, but not getting an attack... Like, my goal was to get to +2 attack through the Hailstorm and the Howl, but now I'm just at neutral. Like, I don't get a single boost. So, that's rough. I can at least switch Zamazenta out into Amoonguss, but the thing is, I honestly think Leech Seed, Iron Defense, Body Press, Protect, you just solo through my whole team with Ferrothorn. So I would need a crit, basically. Man, how can I bring Cinderace into... Even with Cinderace, once you get a, like, +4 defense, and Powerball's not even doing that much, could have led Cinderace, but that feels so... No, I don't think it's ever leading Cinderace, because you can just Tornadus, Kyogre, Tailwind, Water Spout. So I'd have to somehow bring Cinderace, but have it in the back. But also have enough firepower against Tornogre. I don't know. I don't see a clear solution here. And sometimes, you know, as I mentioned, you run into these matchups and you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to go back out into Amoonguss here. I think, I mean, I'm going to Knuckle Ferrothorn, I guess. But it was a great taunt last round to Zamazenta. Ugh, maybe I could have just close combat and... You know what I should have done, actually? Maybe it was just max Knuckle close combat last turn, double up onto Ferrothorn. Especially because they didn't go for another Iron Defense. That actually would have done a significant amount of damage. Probably bring you under 50%. So I think I needed to do that last turn. There's no point in knocking out Tornadus, because what in the world is it doing against me? Yeah, that last turn was a misplay for sure. Like, I am targeting something that is not putting on offensive pressure whatsoever. Yeah, now they go for another Iron Defense. Because I could have punished them pretty heavily. Even then, though, I think I only do like 50%, and after leftovers and Leech Seed, you heal back so much anyway. This is why Iron Defense Ferrothorn is just an absolute beast. I don't know, actually, based on that max Knuckle damage, I'm thinking if you're only at +2, yeah, max Knuckle plus close combat would have done a lot. But that's my bad. I should have gone for that play. There was very like what I was thinking was, oh, you know, if I get an attack boost, then this is really good. Onto if I knock out Tornadus and get an attack boost, you know, I'm like snowballing the game kind of quickly. But, not a great decision in retrospect. I can Spore Kyogre very easily this next turn. I don't have any answer against Ferrothorn. Like, I maybe needed Cinderace in the late game. I don't know who to drop either. That's the other tough part of the equation. There's Spore. Go for another Knuckle, but I think we just lose to Ferrothorn. But the thing is, Iron Defense Ferrothorn is not nearly as common as it was a couple of formats ago, so, you know, sometimes if you're team building, you just say, okay, I'm going to forego my matchup against this one Pokemon and say that it's going to be really tough to go up against it. And once again, like, no matchup in Pokemon is completely unwinnable if you, like, play out of your mind, for example. This one is looking pretty tough at this point, I have to say, but I'm still going to try. Because a single, like, close combat crit onto Ferrothorn just basically not wins us the game, but instantly turns things around again, right? And I will be faster than Ferrothorn next turn. The problem is that there's just a big timer, right? Because you can just body press now. So, I think the only thing that I wish I did differently this game was close combat max Knuckle double up onto Ferrothorn, especially because they Leech Seeded when I think it was a lot safer for them to click Iron Defense there. So I could have punished them for making a suboptimal play on that specific turn. Even if I go for that, like, it's still looking kind of tough though, to be honest, but it's better than where we are now, right? Where Ferrothorn, like, it's just healing back all the damage I do to it. So I think I probably just need a crit on close combat this turn, and that's what we play towards. Yeah. I honestly, I think that's what we go for. We Rage Powder. If we get a crit here, we're actually instantly back in the game. If we don't, I think we just lose to Ferrothorn, and we're going to lose to Ferrothorn at this point anyway. It's at +6 defense. We need a crit. So that's what I'm going for. And if we don't, then I'm just going to forfeit. Like, because, yeah, they got Ferrothorn in a perfect position. That switch turn 1 was really well done. And I don't know. I just don't see a good answer against Tornadus, Kyogre, and Ferrothorn. Because it's like, if I want to go with Cinderace, Tornadus, Kyogre crushes me. So I'm going for a crit here. No crit. Total of like 40%. I really wish I maxed Knuckle Close Combated. That would have at least given me a fighting chance in this game. Such a waste to Hailstorm Tornadus. That was like an example of me just getting baited by a knockout in front of me. And it made no sense to take that knockout. Especially because like a switch out into Kyogre there's also definitely a possibility. Can Zapdos do anything here for us? Could it have? Because the thing is, I need to set up Trick Room, otherwise Tornadus Kyogre just beats the fast mode of our team, right? You know what a potential lead option is? Zamazenta Glastrier, where I Hailstorm Tornadus turn 1. And then I could Wide Guard, but then you could just max Kyogre. Basically, the way I needed to approach this game was get damage onto Ferrothorn before it gets a single Iron Defense off. Because I set up Trick Room and they switched in on turn 1, that was like a game-winning play for them, honestly. It was so well done. And it was like a pretty safe play to make as well, but it was really, really good. Yeah, no way I beat Ferrothorn now. So basically, can I lead something that forces you to switch, or doesn't force you to switch, but also doesn't let you get Ferrothorn in safely? Zamazenta Glastrier is compelling. But then the thing is, do I just Wide Guard and does Kyogre just max? Because if they just max, they can just pick up a knockout onto something and crush me immediately. Yeah, I don't know. That's Iron Defense Ferrothorn. It can literally 1v6 teams. And especially if you play it well. And it's actually interesting that I haven't seen it too often on Kyogre teams. I think often because Kartana is, you know, a steel grass type that you see with those compositions. I think that team had Kartana and Ferrothorn, but I really like that. Because Ferrothorn is what? Weak to fire and fighting. There are very few special fighting attackers, and also like max if you're maxing you know, and using special fighting attacks, it's only base 90, right? So it's not that strong, and they're not increasing their special attack, they're increasing their attack. So if you cover the fire weakness, and that's more common from like special attackers, as well as just iron defense, it's actually very difficult to one-shot that Ferrothorn. So classic Ferrothorn set, but that's exactly what it does so well. And that was a great switch by my opponent in turn 1 to not just attack with the Kyogre. In doing so, they got so much momentum, and that first iron defense puts them in such a good spot. So, Zamazenta versus Zacian. The classic showdown. This should be fun. Okay, they have a Lecky. It's just classic, you know, Lapras. It's interesting that we actually haven't faced too many Lapras Zacians. Lapras is scary. Can I bring Goggles Zapdos into this one? No, it just gets wrecked by Zacian, right? I think. But I don't... the thing with Zamazenta, like Cinderace, is you have a Lecky, you have Landorus. I don't have Eerie Impulse on this thing, though, and I have to worry about Parasol and Lapras. I guess... oh, man, the double Intimidate also really hurts here. So maybe it is Zapdos, as odd as that seems? No, but I can't boost up with this. You know what? I'm going to try Zapdos. I'm going to try Zamazenta Zapdos. Do I not bring Porygon here, really? It's actually not that good. Alright, Glastrier seems really bizarre, though. Okay, I'm trying out something completely different, just because I really don't know what the best approach is here. Team preview in these last two games were kind of tough, but... I think that's the thing. Like, it's very difficult to consistently call team preview here. The reason I'm bringing Zapdos is because my opponent has double Intimidate plus Amoonguss. So it's like, Zapdos will have a very good immediate effect from half the Pokemon my opponent has. But the thing is, they could just lead... okay, Zacian Amoonguss. I could probably sub on their Zacian. We have Goggles. I'm worried about Play Rough here, though. into Zapdos. Maybe it's a Cinderace kind of game then. I mean, I have max Airstream on this thing. Most Zacians aren't running play. Oh, but you could just Behemoth Blade here. Yikes. Right? What would I do if I were my opponent? Just Behemoth Blade Zapdos, Spore Zamazenta. Okay. Oh, okay. How about this? We go into Amoonguss and we detect. Yeah, hold on. I think this works. I think because we're Goggles, this works. And then, what I can do next turn is Rage Powder. You probably sub with the Zacian, so I max Airstream it. And then I outspeed you, and then I can max Quake. Unless they just sub turn 1 here. If they do, it's so bad. Okay, they did Behemoth Blade, though. Good. And Spore. Okay, that's what we want to see. Yes, good. Yeah, I think I just Rage Powder and max Airstream here. And the reason I want to Airstream is because Zacian, should you sub, we break the sub. We're safety Goggles, so this is exactly why I was thinking Zapdos might work here. And finally, Goggles might be relevant. So I ignore a potential Rage Powder. I think if I'm my opponent right now, I'd consider subbing with Zacian, sporing into Zapdos. But this is where Goggles is so good, because their Amoonguss is completely useless right now. And after a Speed Boost, we'll outspeed Zacian. So, yeah. Like, I could have Spored onto Zacian here as well, but I think Max Airstream just covers for every option. Max Airstream Rage Powder covers for every option. If you Protect, I outspeed you next turn. If you sub, I break the sub. Well, hopefully, actually. I guess I don't know if Max Airstream actually breaks the sub. That would be a problem, actually. Oh, actually, Zacian might be bulky enough to take it. Oh, no. Well, let's see if they sub here. Let us see. They did sub, yep. Otherwise, my play was to max Quake Spore into Zacian. Wait, I should have just done that, shouldn't I have? Please break the sub. Okay, good. Like, Max Airstream Spore would have been better, but it doesn't... Like, it's bad if they just Behemoth Blade me, right? Yeah, now Goggles comes up huge for us. Nice. Okay. So I'm gonna Spore Amoonguss now. Max Quake, I think, into... it's just Zacian protecting here is very likely. But I don't know if they know that we have Max Quake. I could have Knuckled, but I really want to one-shot this thing if I can. And I'm Sporing into Amoonguss because Amoonguss is useless right now. They know I have Goggles, and so I think a Switch Out... If they Switch Out, it's very good for us, right? Yep. Alright. Nice. Getting Lapras to sleep like this is so good for us. And they don't Protect. Wow, that was the dream turn. I think this should one-shot. Man, we finally get to max the Zapdos, and it was so good. This is why Safety Goggles can be such a good item in the metagame. Because it turns a matchup against Amoonguss. Like, imagine if we didn't have Goggles. This would have been really, really hard to play. Because you just put the Zapdos to sleep, and most Amoongusses are going to be Focus Sash or Cobra Berry. So, like, I can't even knock out the Amoonguss in that position. You just put me to sleep. But because we had Goggles, not only do we, are we immune to Amoonguss doing Spore or Rage Powder, but in addition, we were able to put Lapras to sleep on the switch in. So, couldn't have worked out any better for us. But this is still very far from over, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's interesting that they actually bring out the Amoonguss outright here. I think it's just Max Knuckle here. Pollen Puff into Lapras, and then just close combat them next turn. Unless you have Clear Smog on Amoonguss as your attacking move. That would actually make a lot of sense. The reason I went for Max Knuckle is because then I have a +1 close combat into your Lapras the next turn. I was kind of surprised to see Amoonguss come out here, because, like, it's useless against my two Pokemon, but I think there might be Clear Smog on it. That would make a lot of sense. It's a good attack. So then I could have just got a Max Airstream Pollen Puff onto the opposing Amoonguss. That may have been better. Holy shamoly, though, that did so much damage. Okay, I think we're good either way then. Yeah, honestly, I don't even mind this. Okay, they are Policy, but the thing is, even if you are Pollen Puff, I just close even if you are, Clear Smog, I just close combat the Lapras now. Next turn anyway. Or not close combat, it's Thunderous Kick, I guess. Nope, they just Sludge Bombed. Okay. Then I'm really surprised to see Amoonguss come out, because I guess my opponent didn't want to bring their last Pokemon. Yeah, actually, never mind. It makes sense to bring out Amoonguss, because if you just bring out your last Pokemon, like, what are you even going to do, right? But I'm just going to Pollen Puff into the Amoonguss here, and Thunderous Kick into Lapras, I think. No reason to not go for that, right? We have the Speed Boost as well, so we can just Brave Bird Amoonguss. Yeah. We get Thunderous Kickoff, which is so cool after so many games. I actually... We've used Galarian Zapdos, right? I don't remember seeing that animation, like, at all until now. Okay, so we have a 4-2 lead. But let's not blow it, because this is still not over by any means. They're going to Sludge Bomb into Zapdos. But we can heal with Pollen Puff, which is also really cool. So, you have to pretty much max your last Pokemon. And it's Landorus. This is exactly why I was like, maybe Galarian Zapdos is good. Because it's like, with Landorus, Incineroar, and Amoonguss all on the team, you have to bring one of those guaranteed. And Zapdos can capitalize in front of any of those. And they actually ended up bringing 2 of the 3, right? So that's even better for us. So we're at +2 attack. I have Zamazenta and Cinderace in the back. I think because we have Focus Sash, we actually want to switch the Amoonguss out here into Zamazenta. Well, actually, maybe we go into Cinderace, because this thing's probably the most disposable at this point. And then just go for Brave Bird here onto Landorus. Yeah, because with the Focus Sash, I can just Spore the Landorus once I come back in. But it's actually not over, because like Landorus is a pretty good late game sweeper. So, don't want to underestimate it by any means. But I think because we know we have the Sash there, this is a decent play to make. Also, if you don't... Well, if you... You should Airstream here, I think, into the Amoonguss slot. But that's why I thought the Zamazenta was a good switch in. I mean, of course I could have just Brave Birded the Amoonguss there as well. But I think here Amoonguss might want to protect. Yeah, they didn't protect, though. Okay, Landorus still survived the Brave Bird. They go for Airstream onto Zapdos. Okay, because we have... Unless you're Lum Landorus. Wait, I didn't think about that. Oh, no. They Sludge Bomb instead of Sporing. That makes sense. You want damage onto Amoonguss. I don't know. I could have just Brave Birded Amoonguss there, but if Amoonguss protects, it's not good, right? Okay, I bring out my Amoonguss now. I'm actually really nervous about them being Lum Landorus now. I think AV makes the most sense, but Lum is decently common. They got a Speed Boost here. I have Sucker Punch. And I have Zamazenta in the back. I think I like Pyro Balling in case they try to double up onto my Amoonguss here. And oh, wait, I could just Rage Powder and Pyro Ball, right? Wait, I don't know why I didn't think about that. Yeah. We target Landorus here. Yeah. I Tunnel Vision a little bit too hard on the Spore, but this also covers for Lumberry. So, okay. I think this is fine. Unless Power Ball does not KO Landorus from this range. Or they're Speedy Amoonguss and they outspeed... No, I don't. You can't even outspeed Cinderace at +2, right? Because you can only outspeed like the Genies, so that's base 110s. Cinderace is faster than that. We could miss Pyro Ball, that's my only fear now. Okay, hits. Nice. Okay, yeah, good. No reason to Spore there, because if I, like, actually went for... Yeah, I don't know why I Tunnel Vision so hard on the Spore. That was just my initial game plan when I switched out. But this actually could have gotten really bad. If they just Spored my Amoonguss the turn I switched out, and Cinderace is asleep, then you can max Airstream, double up onto my Amoonguss. We actually could lose the game, so... Yeah, despite it looking as good as it did, I don't know. I maybe should have just... I think I like max Airstreaming Amoonguss over that max Knuckle play. Because Lapras was asleep. And, like, the odds are already in our favor. So, if we just knock out Amoonguss, and it's a 2v... And Amoonguss is out of the way, the matchup becomes easier for us. So, I think it might have been a mistake to not knock out Amoonguss faster. Just because it does put on pressure with Spore in general, right? I'm just gonna... This is where Pollen Puff is kind of neat now. So, yeah. Just gonna go for Self Pollen Puff. There's no way Amoonguss wins again. Like, it just doesn't... It can't hit the Zamazenta in the back. So, you can knock out Cinderace, you can knock out Amoonguss, but, yeah. It makes sense for my opponent because I don't think they've even seen the Zamazenta yet. Yeah, the Trinite max not gold. I don't know. Because in my head, I just really didn't want Lapras to max, but I guess it's really not that much of a problem for us. It's just that the Amoonguss basically never protected the times I expected it to. Yeah, we can just go for Pyro Ball and Behemoth Bash here. Amoonguss, we've already seen its moveset. It literally cannot do any damage in a Zamazenta, so yeah. And even if you had any attacking moves, I mean, Amoonguss is typically going for Grass, or Poison, or Pollen Puff, for example. And you can still see, like, Zamazenta does damage. We get the Wake Up, and Pyro Ball misses, actually, but that's okay. We hit the one we needed to on Landorus, and they're just going to Spore the Zamazenta, but that's fine. Maybe I should have gone for Howl, just for the animation. Although I don't think its animation is actually very exciting. Iron Head's 100% accurate, so let's just go for that. Like, they literally can't beat Zamazenta, so it doesn't matter what we do. You can't really hit it at all. Yeah, and they end up forfeiting. I mean, it was scary because this game felt like it literally played out perfectly, yet I still could have lost if they spored into the switch-in. So, curious what the item was on Landorus there in the end. And I think it would have been smarter to Airstream. You know what else I could have done? Like, I didn't want to switch out my Amoonguss because I was nervous of them predicting the switch out and sporing. But what we could have done was, for example, switch out Amoonguss out into Zamazenta. Oh, and I think their Amoonguss had taken damage at that point, right? So why not just switch out into Zamazenta and max Airstream? Because then a close combat still crushes Lapras next turn. Do you really want to Dynamax Lapras against Zamazenta plus Zapdos? Probably not. Well, actually, you probably have to, though, because Landorus isn't really going to cut it. But if I Airstream, I get a speed boost on both. And then you bring out the Landorus. Yeah, I think that would have been a better play. It's just risky because but I don't remember. Oh, sorry. It's not actually that risky if the Amoonguss would have just fainted from max Airstream. I don't know if they had Koba or Focus Sash because I don't think we ever saw the item. And I really didn't want to switch out Zamazenta and just let it get put to sleep. So I'm not sure. But I don't know. Like, I think I had better plays to make because it's scary that if they actually went Spore until the turn Cinderace switched in, like, it was really risky. But if I Brave Bird it into an Amoonguss Protect and we don't do any damage to Landorus, we probably just lose. So, yeah. It was scary for how good of a start we had. That, like, even though it felt like we had total control of the game, the late game Landorus was actually really scary. And that, like, Amoonguss is just so good with Spore Pressure, right? So I probably needed to take care of it a little bit quicker. In the end, it was okay, but yeah, I'm not super happy about how I played the end game for how good our first, like, 5 turns were. So, yeah, but that's the power of Safety Goggles Zapdos, and I'm glad to get a really good game in with that for this team specifically, because we've pretty much exclusively maxed Glastrier and Cinderace in the previous game. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this episode. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like. And yeah, thanks as always for watching. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.